Let's take a look at what you're doing in class this week. We are in Module 1. Module 1 covers habitat maintenance. So we'll look at the design and maintenance of habitats. For each module, you'll have an overview and then the weekly objectives and a list of activities. Your first activity this week will be an introduction so we can get to know one another. In order for you to introduce yourselves in this discussion post, you will hit reply, and then you will type your statement in here, and then you will hit reply there. And that's how you will post that introduction. Next, you have your week 1 learning materials. There are 2 short learning videos here, and then you have your week 1 learning resources. So here you have a paper to download on animal habitats. You also have some other articles and excerpts of articles listed here, a video on fox domestication, and then below that are some optional reading. This gives you an overview of the course project. In the end, you will have a document that provides guidelines for your facility on animal care and training. You will include elements from each week into this manual. Here you'll see the sections that you include in that handbook. So you want to take a look at that now. So as you are working through the course week by week, you have an idea of what is to come and where you're going to be putting some of that information into your overall final project. And that's the reason why they put it here in the beginning, so that you can be thinking about this along the way. You have 2 discussions this week. Your first one is a peer quiz. You are going to create a quiz that you will post on the discussion board. It'll have 20 questions in it. You get to choose how you want to format that quiz, types of questions. This week is a little bit different. You still have your initial post due 3 a.m. Thursday. What is different here is your first response post, where you will respond to one of your peers' quiz posts by answering their questions, is actually due at 3 a.m. on Saturday. So this is a little bit different. Normally your reply posts are 3 a.m. on Monday, but you're going to have 2 replies this time. So originally 3 a.m. Thursday for your quiz, then you will take someone else's quiz and you want to find someone that no one else has taken their quiz before. You will do that by 3 a.m. on Saturday, and then you will go back to the quiz that you posted and to the student who took your quiz, and you will address any errors they might have made when they took your quiz, and that will be 3 a.m. on Monday. So we have 3 different due dates on this first discussion. Your second discussion of the week is about habitat design and construction, and this will be something that eventually you will be putting part of this into your course project. You're going to pick a type of facility and 2 to 5 species that you will house at your facility. So you want to list the type of facility, list your species, make sure you include their scientific names. This shows you the proper format for a scientific name, genus and species. We italicize both. We only capitalize the first letter of genus. If it's also a species that has a subspecies, then we would include the subspecies written the same way that we do species, not capitalized, but still italicized. What you want to think about as you're creating this discussion post is 2 of the animals, and consider the types of habitats that you would design for them. As you're doing this, you want to answer these questions. In many cases, we have questions that are part of the assignment, making sure that you hit on certain highlights, but you want to still write it like an essay. So you don't want to just write question 1, here's the answer, question 2. Write it like it's an essay. You also want to include at least 1 reference in APA 7 format. If you don't know what that is, then you can come over here to Library Resources and it will show you. When you cite something in scientific literature, what you want to do is to create the full citation in proper APA format at the end in a reference section, but you also want to cite it in the text of the writing where you used information from that source. So if you take a particular idea or concept from someone, you state that, and then at the end of that sentence, you give them the in-text citation for their idea. Post that by Thursday at 3 a.m., and then you will respond to 2 other students' posts by 3 a.m. on Monday. When you respond to other students, think about ways that you could help them make their enclosures and their habitats better. And then you have your week 1 assignment. You're going to write a 1,000 to 1,500 word paper where you talk about habitats. When you do your word count, the title, the abstract, and the reference pages do not count as part of the word count. So when you're looking for this 1,000 to 1,500 words, make sure you go in and highlight just the text that you've written, not including those pieces. In your essay, you want to make sure that you answer these questions, but again, you want to write it like an essay, not like a list of answers to specific questions. Put it together in proper essay format. Think about the writing of an essay. You're going to have an introductory paragraph with a thesis statement at the end of it. You're going to have supporting paragraphs and a concluding paragraph. Below the assignment, you will see the rubric. I want you to always look at both the instructions and the rubric just to make sure that you have everything in there and that you understand what all components need to be in the assignment. The rubric will also show you what the point value is of each thing. So you could go through and figure out how much each thing is worth. The other thing I want to really point out here, because this highlights it very well. Now, they may fix this after the video has been made. If they do, great. But I want to point out that this rubric right now is not saying anything about needing references. However, the instructions did. So you want to make sure you read both. We're trying to make sure that they always match up, but sometimes they don't. In most cases, you are going to want references. So if there's any sort of question about whether I need references or not, I would always err on that side. But again, always look at the instructions and look at the rubrics. And then, of course, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. If you have any questions as you're going over your assignment this week, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. I hope you have a great week.